Hi there, welcome back. The topic of this week's video PowerPoint presentation is vertebrate and plant tissues. In part 1 we'll talk about plant tissues. The question that we're asking is, how are plants put together? What are the building blocks and how are they joined? At the smallest level, plants, like anything else, are made of atoms and molecules. These molecules build up to organelles within the cells. Organelles operate kind of like the organs within your body, but they work within a cell at the cellular level. Cells build up to tissues, and today we're going to talk about plant tissues and tissue systems in plants. Plants have three primary tissue systems. The first that we're going to discuss is the dermal system. These are the cells that cover the outside layer of the plant. The function is primarily protection and absorption, as well as gas exchange. The primary tissues of the dermal tissue system are the epidermis, that's the main outside covering of the plant, and in woody plants also the periderm. Periderm, that's a fancy word for the bark. The second system is the vascular system. This is found inside the plant. The vascular tissue system is analogous to your vascular tissue system, meaning your blood vessels. The function of the vascular tissue system in plants is to transport such things as water, nutrients, and products of photosynthesis. The primary tissues, there's two of them really. Xylem. Xylem is the tissue that brings water and nutrients up from the roots. The walls are thick and xylem supports the plant. In a woody plant, the wood that you see or that you burn in your fireplace is just old xylem. Phloem is the tissue that transports water from leaves and transports products of photosynthesis to elsewhere in the plant, primarily to the roots for storage. If you forget which of these tissues send stuff up or down or which substances are being transported, just remember this. Xylem zips up and phloem flows down. If the xylem is zipping up, it's bringing water and nutrients from the soil up to the plant, and if the phloem's flowing down, it's taking products of photosynthesis or water absorbed from the leaves down to the roots. Third is the ground tissue system. Also inside the plant, the function is in photosynthesis, storage, and support. There's a couple of primary tissues in the ground tissue system. The parenchyma tissue, these are the photosynthetic cells in leaves. These are called mesophyll, and they contain the chloroplasts. The chloroplasts are those little bundles that are doing the photosynthesis within the plant. Parenchyma tissues also are used for storage in roots, where they're called the cortex. You'll see that in a second. And some other primary tissues are collenchyma and sclerenchyma. We won't talk about them too much, but they're kind of cool words, huh? Collenchyma, sclerenchyma. I like those. Okay. What you're looking at here is the cross-section of a root. The center of the root contains the vascular bundle. Remember what I was saying earlier, that xylem zips up. When you stain a plant so that the individual cells can be seen under a microscope, the xylem stains red. In between these red branches of that star, which is the xylem, you can see some blue-green phloem cells. Outside of that vascular bundle, you have the outer layers, which are the ground tissue. Here, this is the cortex used for storing water and nutrients in the root. Now we're going to look at a leaf. Leaves get more complex. The outer layer is the epidermis. That's the dermal tissue. That protects the plant. Now, a question for you. How do you know, if I didn't tell you ahead of time, which is the top and bottom side of the leaf? Well, let's look at the geography of the leaf. Let's look at the types of cells inside and their position and location, and you'll be able to answer that question. First, you can see a vascular bundle, which is a vein running through that leaf with the red xylem and again the blue phloem. Okay, but what about the red cells? and the open spaces all around. Do you see that these long cells up top are long and they are, I guess I said that twice, the long cells are long and they are more red than the roundish cells down below. Well, that redness is the chloroplasts. Chloroplasts make a leaf look green to our eyes, but when we stain them for microscopy, they stain red. Well, we're going to have more chloroplasts on the top layer of the leaf for photosynthesis. Now look down at the bottom of this leaf. You can see an opening down there. That's called a stoma. The plural of stoma is stomata. Those are openings in the bottom of the leaf. And these openings are controlled by guard cells. They open and close that space. Well, the stoma is what regulates the flow of gases and fluids in and out of the leaf. You see those big spaces around the stoma? Well, that's where the gases and fluids are stored. Makes sense that they've got to be on the bottom side of the leaf. Stomas are on the bottom to be protected from, sunlight drying them out on the top. But once you know that we have more chloroplasts in the top and more open spaces on the bottom, you can tell the top of the leaf from the bottom. Now, one more thing I'm going to point at. These long cells, the red ones with the chloroplasts, that's parenchyma. And it's called palisade parenchyma because they look like tall columns. Below that, the red potato-shaped parenchyma cells, those are spongy parenchyma. They're rounder and they're flatter. And that concludes our discussion of plant tissues. Pretty easy. Thanks for coming.